Sarvana sir, please
Yes,
proceed
sir.
for.
A very good afternoon to everyone. I welcome you all for the second day of 5-day faculty development program on additive manufacturing and industrial scope. Today, I'm very honored to invite the eminent person and resource person, Dr. Pulak Mohan Pandey. I welcome you, sir. I like to share about Dr. Pulak Mohan Pandey. He is in Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering in Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. His areas of interest: additive manufacturing, 3D printing and tooling, and CAD/CAM, and non-traditional machining and finishing, FEA of manufacturing processes, biomedical application of 3D printing. His education: PhD 2013 in Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, M.Tech in 1995 in Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. He completed B.Tech in 1993 in HBTI, Kanpur. He had so many work experiences in various institutions. In that, Professor January 2017, Department of Mechanical Engineering, IIT Delhi, Associate Professor in December 2010 to January 2017, Department of Mechanical Engineering in IIT Delhi, Assistant Professor April 2004 to December 2010 in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in IIT Delhi, and he worked as a senior lecturer in the May 2001 to April 2004 in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, HBTI, Kanpur, and as a lecturer he started May 1996 to May 2001, Department of Mechanical Engineering, HBTI, Kanpur, and many more experience he had, and some of his awards and honors: 5 awards, Gandhian AIM Technological Innovation Awards, one in 2013, second in 2015, one in 2017, and one in 2018. Outstanding Research awarded by Additive Manufacturing Society of India in 2015. Invited to talk at 20th European Forum on Additive Manufacturing in the Paris in the year of 2015. He invited the person, the chief guest in AIMTDR 2014 in IIT Guwahati, and J.A. Mahajan Award, the outstanding faculty he got, and in the year of 2012 in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in IIT Delhi. And then editorial board member of the Rapid Product Development magazine endorsed by RP Society of India, French RP Association, Portuguese RP Association, Standard and Industrial Research in Malaysia. Outstanding Young Faculty Fellowship, IIT Delhi, sponsored by Kusma Trust, Gibraltar. Highly commented paper awarded by Rapid Prototyping Journal of the paper, Experimental Investigations into the Effect of Delay Time on Part Strength in Selective Laser Sintering, presented in International Conference on Manufacturing Automation, that is ICMA 2017, held at National University of Singapore during the year 2007 in the month of May 28th to 30th. And they had a certificate of merit of achieving first position in B.Tech Mechanical Engineering in Kanpur University. He had a merit certificate for proficiency in physics by National Physics Teachers Association in the year of 1990.
I think this is enough, this is too much, just.
Yes, sir, just because that's all, sir. Actually, no need to give brief explain about you, such a eminent personality of you. Any persons know by your name itself, even though. So now I welcome you, sir. You can carry on for your sessions. Thank you for your participating our FDP.
Okay, so thank you very much. So like before I start, Today is the first day, or it is, I think,
Second day, sir.
second day. Okay. So you like I will talk for 45 minutes and my session is up to 3:30, I think, correct?
Correct, sir. Correct.
So then another 45 minutes will be lab demonstration. Fine.
Fine,
So
sir.
lab
Fine.
demonstration will be done by my student. So I have shared the same link with him. So he will join at around 2:45 or so when I will finish this lecture. So let me just go ahead. Okay, just hold on. Yeah. हाँ जसविंदर, हाँ अभी तो ज्वाइन नहीं किया ना, मैं तुम्हें फोन करूंगा फिर ज्वाइन करना, ठीक है? ओके. हेलो.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah, so I'm starting my talk. So first let me share my screen and okay. And okay, so is it visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
This should be full screen now. Let me make it full screen. So is it full screen now?
Yes, sir. It is full screen now.
Okay, so I'll talk about the fundamentals of additive manufacturing or 3D printing, and I'll also talk about applications for maybe 40 minutes or 45 minutes, and then there will be a lab demonstration. So this is the way I'll proceed. So just to brief you that this 3D printing which we are talking about today is actually started with, in the beginning it was known as rapid prototyping. So it was known as rapid prototyping because in this slide you can see this design process. It's a typical product design cycle. So there are a variety of steps. Starts from design need, and then you actually do the design of a product, do the analysis, do the optimization, and then finally you do, once your design is optimized, you go for the evaluation of the design. So evaluation of the design means you have to make your design and you have to test the design, because before really testing the design you cannot go for the production. So this particular step which you see here, design evaluation, is a very critical step. Why it is a critical step? Because your product is new, the geometry may be complex, the materials may be complex, they may be stringent materials. So making the components and making the complete product may take a lot of time because there's no previous expertise that is available. So after that once your design testing is successful, then you go for blueprint making of the design, that is the design documentation. And after that, before starting production, we go for planning of the production, that is process planning, production planning, design and procurement of new tools, ordering new material. And if there's a digital method of manufacturing you are planning, then definitely you have to go for programming of NCs, CNCs, etc. So then you actually go and produce your product, and then you go for quality control, packaging, shipping, and the product is launched into the market. So basically, and then once the product is in the market, you again get the feedback from your customers and you can modify your design needs. So that's how, what do we see, that this design process is a continuous process. It never ends, and the typical product design cycle has been shown in this particular figure. So like in the beginning, as I indicated, that this prototyping used to be the product design function, and the focus or emphasis was on this design evaluation. So this prototyping which I'm talking about, it is nothing but making first few replicas or models of a particular product design, and it helps in conceptualization of a design before the start of full production. A prototype is usually fabricated and tested. So earlier what people used to do, it was a long time taking activity. That's a bottleneck actually, because the entire activity used to be in the hands of people, and they are craftsmen basically. They're skilled craftsmen or skilled engineers, we can say, or diploma holders, and they used to do this activity. And because they were less in number, so they used to be in high demand, and this activity used to take a long time. So that's why people tried that, okay, why not to develop prototypes, and we should try to do soft prototyping. Like actually doing the prototyping, we can try to test the component or the product virtually. That is said to be the soft prototyping. So the model is can be stressed in a virtual environment and simulated. So that was a good activity, but this activity was not so good because there were many assumptions involved when you are actually solving a problem using software. Then the third and the latest trend of prototyping, that is known as rapid prototyping, is nothing but layer by layer material deposition that started during early 90s, 80s, and with the enormous growth of CAD/CAM and manufacturing technologies. So that is something what has been done. So that is known as rapid prototyping because it was a product design function. Now, so let me explain you the principle. Like suppose you want to make a product like this. So what you will do, if you want to make a product like this, then you are definitely going to do machining. You can do like this, may be one of the approach. The second approach may be that you can join, and the third approach may be that you can take a bulk of material and deform. So this is the, but in rapid prototyping, what do we do? It is a bottom up approach. Bottom up approach means we try to deposit material layer by layer from bottom to the top, and we actually make the component. So this is the concept of prototyping. So like in order to make you about this thing more practical and give better idea, I will. So actually here the idea is that we start the thing with CAD modeling. So whatever you want to make, whatever you want to produce, that first thing would be that you will make a model of it, correct? So you'll make a CAD model of it, and then what you will do, you will slice the model, and then after slicing the model, like suppose what do? You cut these kind of layers. Suppose you take some thick paper or maybe sheet and cut like this and deposit, stake these layers one over another. So basically what you're going to get, you're going to get a physical prototype like this. So if you compare the two, basically you'll find that the surfaces are not matching, correct? There's a stair-stepping effect because of the finite layer thickness. So here you can just have a look that the geometry of this hole is also not matching. This geometry is also not matching. So this is how to go from here to here. So basically some secondary operations will be needed if you really go from here to here. Okay. So the RP process chain or 3D printing process chain, if we want to tell you, then we start with the CAD modeling, and before slicing there's one more step involved, that you have to save your component as a STL file. So it will be, you are saving it as a STL file, and then you're slicing. So you're slicing from bottom to the top, and once you slice, this sliced information, which is in form of polygons, that you're going to use as an input to the 3D printer. So there will be some more softwares in between based on the 3D printing technology. So the generation of laser scanning paths or material deposition paths, that will also be done by this 3D printing. So then once this is out, you get the component out of this 3D printer, you can post process it, you can finish it, and you'll test the prototype. And then basically that will be the final, or if there are drawbacks, you'll go and correct it once again. So what do we see is that you can have a solid modeling and tessellation. Suppose you want to make this component. So now this is called STL file, correct? So this STL file means you are going to see this STL file like this. That is, if this is a free-form surface, so you're approximating this surface using small triangles. So this is what is the STL file is. Then when you slice it, basically you will get the nested polygons. So you can see here there's various polygons, that is the nested polygons which you are getting, and in a very specific format which is known as SLC format or common layer interface format, we are going to put these things. Okay, so basically the generation of laser scanning paths or material deposition paths is another step. And if you want to see the various technologies, that various technologies are like liquid based systems are there, powder based systems are there, solid based systems are there. So I'll describe these things in my forthcoming slides. So the last step which we really see is about the post curing, correct? So post processing includes post curing in certain processes, and then you have to remove the support structure and you have to finish by sanding or polishing or painting. That is also something what you have to do in order to improve the surface quality of these components. Okay. So what do we see that in a very short span of time, that is maybe in few hours of the time, you develop your CAD model, you will basically have this thing that is a prototype made, that is the actual prototype in the hands of the person. Okay, then the various data set which can be used in case of 3D printing. So obviously you can use 3D CAD and you convert it to STL file, and then you go ahead and make it like this. So STL file can be used to drive the 3D printer. Other thing maybe that you have a 2D drawing and you can convert it to 3D CAD STL and you can drive your 3D printer. The next may be the point cloud data, correct? So if any old machine component is available, and if any old machine component is available and you don't have drawing for it, so what you will do, you can have this thing scanned. So basically using some reverse engineering scanner, you can get it scanned and you're going to have this again using reverse engineering software. So point cloud data you get. So this point cloud data you can process using reverse engineering, and then basically you can construct a 3D CAD and you get the STL file and you can drive your 3D printer. Sometimes we directly make by some algorithms, we can use point cloud data and polygonize it and directly get a STL file. So that is another approach which we try to follow. The second thing may be that the most important one I'll say is the use of MRI and CT scan data as an input data. So for biomedical applications, we use MRI data or CT scan data, and we try to reconstruct it using some softwares like Simpleware, Mimix kind of softwares, and then we construct STL file and go ahead and drive our 3D printer. So these are some important, these are the four, I'll say, the data inputs which are used to drive basically the 3D printers in case of additive manufacturing. So like why this rapid prototyping was important. So I have already told you that if you introduce this RP product or RP prototype or RP model in your product design cycle for design testing, correct? So as it has been shown, there are various steps. And if you're introducing this RP model, then what has been shown in various projects that the manufacturing lead time one can reduce up to 90% in certain cases. So in certain projects, it has already been shown that the manufacturing lead time has been reduced a lot. So that's what is the advantage of using this thing as a design product design tool. But today, because lot many capabilities have increased about the 3D printing or additive manufacturing, these processes are not only used for as a product design tool, but they are also used as a manufacturing tool. But definitely the manufacturing you cannot do as a mass manufacturing. You have to do only for customized component manufacturing. So if you try to see these various AM processes, you can have a look that we can classify based on raw material actually. So raw material is liquid. The concept of converting from liquid to solid may be polymerization, which may be thermal polymerization or a UV lamp based polymerization, or it may be a laser based polymerization. And if you are using solid material as an initial material, then it may be based on wire. It may be based on the powders. The powder may be polymeric powder, metal powder. They may be one powder at a time. They may be more than one powder at a time. And then other thing may be the foil, that you can use foil. So based on these principles, there are important AM processes which I am going to cover. There are many developments which have taken place time to time. So everything I cannot cover, but the idea is to cover some important commercial processes which are definitely little older and popular also with good capabilities. So one such process is called stereolithography. So my student will show you the stereolithography process as a live system you will see today from the lab after my lecture is over. So after 10-15 minutes, you will see this system, live system in our lab, so that you can have a look. I think GNIT is also having this system. I believe that stereolithography. Someone is having actually this system in Noida site. I don't know. So then the next one is so here basically photopolymeric photosensitive resin is used, and it is being pumped in this above this platform, and then laser comes from the top, and this movable mirror is moved, and this laser deflects the spot on the resin surface, and wherever this spot goes, you'll find that there's a photopolymerization, and that's how you are able to sinter, or you are able to cure the material. So you get one layer, then the platform moves down and you pour another material, and you keep on doing it from bottom to the top. So one has to also create this support structure. If you have to also create a support structure if there's any overhanging feature present. So the good thing about this process is that the accuracy is high, the surface quality is high, and very fine surfaces, very fine layers of the as low as 10 micrometers in a microstereolithography process, they can be deposited. So you are going to have very high accuracy. But the limitation is that a very limited number of such resins, which are photosensitive resins, they are available. So you will see that there's one similar process that has also been developed, that is known as direct light, I'll say prototyping, DLP. So digital light processing, that is the name of the technology. So you can Google it and have a look at what is DLP process, correct? Then in selective laser sintering or melting process, basically it is a powder bed fusion process. So here what do we have? We have this platform on which we are spreading the powder layer by layer, and the laser comes from the top, and there's a mirror, a galvano mirror, which is scanning the area which you want to sinter. So basically there's a fusion and between the particles, and you're able to make this particle as a solid lump. So from this slide, it will become more clear that this is how there's a recoating of the layer, and then there's a powder bed exposed to the laser beam. So this brown color shows that this material has been sintered, and then the platform moves down, and you are able to basically see this thing, and you again recoat the layer, and you basically get again recoat the layer. So that's how the process cycle is there. So here one more important point is that this whole thing is done in an enclosed chamber, and the chamber temperature is maintained few degrees Celsius below the melting temperature of the material. So that is being maintained by these infrared heating radiators, correct? So this is done in order to avoid the curling of the layers. So the laser increases the temperature only by few degrees Celsius in this process. Now another important process is called fused deposition modeling process. So in fused deposition modeling, basically you are having this wire. It is a plastic ABS wire, for example, and it is drawn in by counter rotating rods, and there are heating rollers. So when the material comes out, you will find that you are able to deposit the material the way it has been shown in this picture. So layer by layer material deposition is being done. So generally in a machine there are two nozzles, and these two nozzles, one is for the main material and other is for the support material, and later on the support you have to remove, and then you can have a look on. So a good demonstration about this process will also be done by my research scholar in the lab after this session. Then laminated object manufacturing is another process that we basically have this thing that here basically you are using a sheet material as the raw material. So the sheet is gets stick to this platform by the application of this heating roll, and then basically you are using the laser to cut the material, and then there's a layer by layer material deposition. And so this cross hatched is actually waste material, and so the function of laser in this process is to cut the material, not the sinter the material. So this is actually the ring is actually required, and all other is a waste material. So that's how you keep on doing. Then again it will proceed, and you will get another laminate on this. The heating roll will move, and again the laser will come. So you'll keep on actually building this component from layer by layer. So this is an example of metal printing, correct? So laser engineered net shaping is another important process which was developed around 2006 or so. So here you are having basically this nozzle, and the powder comes like this, correct? And from the center there's a laser beam which is coming down, and you are able to deposit the molten material on this platform, and there's a XY positioning, so you are able to make the different shapes as it has been shown in this particular picture. So there are different variants of this process: lens, direct metal deposition, direct energy deposition, LMD, laser metal deposition. All these are its variants. Almost the principle is same, but controls may be different, specifications may be different. So the characteristics of the component are definitely going to be different. So that's how we are able to do this lens. Even if you try to see the lens, like they have 5-axis table, so different kinds of depositions you can do. Then basically we also have electron beam additive manufacturing. We have wire arc electron, wire arc additive manufacturing, WAAM, wire arc additive manufacturing. So these are the new processes which have come in the field of metal manufacturing. So you can just have a look on this. That is the additive manufacturing. This thing that is additive manufacturing. Basically, this is a nozzle lens process. So from the sides, the powder is coming, from the center, laser is coming, and this can even be used to repair the materials. And this is a powder bed fusion process, that is selective laser melting kind of process. There's a complete powder is being spread and the laser is coming from the top, and you are sintering the material the way you are doing it. So then it is the next thing, that is the selective laser melting and this thing. So let me now talk about the applications. That is the last part of my presentation. So the you can do the CAD model verification, visualization of object, proof of concept. Then you can do engineering analysis and planning. There may be some biomedical applications, that is diagnostic and surgical operation planning, fabrication of implants, prosthesis. And then in manufacturing also there are a wide variety of applications, which includes die manufacturing, pattern manufacturing. Even you can have a wax kind of pattern so that you can produce different designs in gold, that is investment casting. So this gold jewelry which you see today, Tanishq jewelry, that is all done through this route. So you make a model, you make a design basically using 3D printer, and then make an investment casting mold and pour the gold so that you get a cast jewelry. Then you have basically EDM electrode. So EDM, if you want to produce a typical die, the die geometry is known, so you have to make an EDM electrode for it. So the EDM electrode you can make by RP process or by AM process, and you use it for machining cavity. So this is a slide which shows what is biomedical application. So you can have CT or MRI image acquisition, and you can have this kind of grayscale images. This is a layer by layer information. You can have a software and you can reconstruct this thing, and you can drive a 3D printer and you can get this thing. So basically some examples you can see, they themselves are well explained, so you can enjoy these pictures. And these are the resection templates, medical implants. These are metal implants, basically titanium medical grade alloy implants made by EBAM process. This is made by selective laser melting process. This is a dental implant which has been made by this thing. This is a aerospace application that you can produce these titanium blades or repair titanium blades using lens kind of process. So you can see these typical very difficult to manufacture components, correct? So they can be done by this thing. So there's no other alternative using which you can do these kinds of components. This is a typical die, correct? Then this is a plastic SLS made headlamp, which is actually kept in this particular vehicle. So they are using this process as a additive manufacturing process. Then these plastic components, they can be even coated with, they can be spray painted in order to improve their surface quality and in order to improve their strength. So this is the finished and painted headlamp. Basically, this beautiful artifacts, if you try to see, they can also be produced using 3D printing kind of process. Okay, so what is the next generation additive manufacturing? The next generation additive manufacturing is that we can have smart components. What are these smart components are? That these smart components are like you can have optical, electrical, structural sensors embedded in these components, and then basically they can be used to, you know, give some signals when they are under operation. So those kinds of smart components, they can be produced by 3D printing. So the complexity of object to be manufactured is not a limitation in rapid prototyping or 3D printing, correct? But still there are many challenges. They are related to strength is low, surface quality is not that good, accuracy is low. But if you do proper planning of deposition and experience, keep on adding, then it can minimize these limitations. So that's how you will see that these are quite potential processes as far as these things are concerned. So I'll show you a few distinctive features of additive manufacturing. Okay, so can you see another presentation now or not? I think you cannot.
Sir, it is visible.
What is this role of additive manufacturing in Industry 4.0?
Yes, sir.
Is it visible? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like what is Industry 4.0? It can be described as the convergence of industrial production, communication and information technologies. So please note that it is a convergence of production, communication and information technologies. Now in basically Industry 4.0 has resulted in a paradigm shift from centrally controlled to the decentralized production processes. Fine. So basically here you can see that cyber physical system is the backbone of Industry 4.0. Cloud computing, system integration, simulation, big data analytics, augmented reality and virtual reality, and the collaborative robotics along with additive manufacturing are the various associative technologies which are used for implementation of Industry 4.0. So additive manufacturing, like what makes it important? What are the features of this additive manufacturing which makes it important so that you can see this which can give you this additive manufacturing, what makes it important? So basically it is the shape complexity, correct? So distinctive features of additive manufacturing, that is shape complexity. So you can see the very complex shapes. There is no other manufacturing process which can produce this. Then material complexity. You can just have a feel of material complexity from this slide. Okay, then it is the functional complexity. So functional devices can be directly fabricated, as I have already indicated to you. Then topological optimization, correct? So this is the component, but once you topologically optimize, you can get this kind of thing. Then part consolidation, correct? So like if you make 6 components but in 3D printing, you can do it in one go. So basically there's a lot of cost reduction. So these 4 or 5 features of Industry 4 additive manufacturing, like design freedom, customization, topological optimization, part consolidation, they make it is a major disruptive technology for supply chain of spare parts also. So basically they can significantly reduce the time to market and cost of manufacturing. So basically additive manufacturing in the context of Industry 4.0, if you want to see, then you can see that you can produce CAD file optimum design, and you can additive manufacturing, and you can use maintenance, repair and overhaul, or that is the replacement of new spares. So additive manufacturing along with Industry 4.0 or in the environment of Industry 4.0, I must say, you can design anywhere and manufacture anywhere. And it enables end users for maintenance, repair and overhaul capability. So enables users to diversify the application without buying new machines or components. So you might have heard that people want to send this 3D printer to space so that if there's any problem and there is a CAD model, they can print a component there itself and use it for it. But there are various barriers of integration of AM in industry. So these barriers are like high investment cost, which includes material cost, machine cost, and additional design cost, etc. Organizational psychology has to be changed, correct? Automation, one has to have faith on automation, working safety, quality policies. And there's an unpredictable risk also. And then there's a lack of know-how. You all know that there's a lot of lack of know-how. So reliable and reproducible material performance designed for AM and knowledge of this AM technology, that is something which is lacking, which is a barrier for this thing. So thank you. I'll stop here. So if there are some questions, we can take those questions uh, and then I'll hand over to my TA. He will show you basically the live demonstrations on softwares or machines of additive manufacturing.
Thank you very much, sir. This was a wonderful session. We had so many ideas and so many information we got, like a fruitful session, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So if there's any question?
So we will be writing to you all those questions. We can further proceed to your team, sir. We are having a lot of questions here with us, but we will write to you for the answers.
I think some of the questions, if you want, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll hand over to you.
Sir, there is a question which is coming from our participant is what is different? What makes it different from subtractive manufacturing to additive manufacturing in terms of cost optimization?
It is a very, matlab, it's not, there's no generic answer for this, correct? So many factors you have to consider, because if you want to actually evaluate that whether the component can be produced by RP or by additive manufacturing and subtractive manufacturing both, and in which case you will get the small cast or little cast. It will depend on the component, correct? It's not a general question. It cannot be answered like this.
Sir, another question is what are the different materials we can use in metal additive manufacturing system?
So there are many materials people have tried: stainless steel, high carbon chromium steel, titanium in alloys for engineering applications, biomedical applications, aerospace applications, shape memory alloys, super alloys, correct? So all these very tough, very stringent materials have been printed. Even people are now printing magnesium alloys. They're also printing copper alloys, aluminum alloys. So all these materials have been printed using 3D printing, metal printing. Yeah.
Sir, another question is why we are looking it is a future technology for biomedical applications.
That I have already explained. I think I have explained it already. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, so we can now move ahead with the lab visit.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm closing my presentation, and the student will join using the same credentials. Correct?
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Uh, not so.
Sir, it's again breaking, sir. It was audible at your start, but now it's again start breaking.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah. Now it
Is
is
it
audible.
okay now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay. Uh, in this session, uh, I will discuss about some practical aspects of 3D printing, or we can say what we are doing in our IIT lab of RP Rapid Prototyping Lab. I will discuss about all these uh, machines, all these 3D printers in this session. Okay. Again, I am starting uh, by wishing you all good evening. Uh, you have already learned about the additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is the fabrication of the part by layer deposition of the material and final
Excuse me,
part is
sir.
hello.
Yeah, your voice breaking, sir.
No, what can I say that connection is proper.
Sir, you have shared something like some PPT
No,
you have
yet
shared.
not. Yet not. I have not shared. I am just discussing what you have learned previously from the sir lecture.
Yeah.
Uh, I will come uh, afterward. I will come thereafter. Okay, sir.
Okay,
Is it
okay.
audible or not? Please let me know.
Sir, your voice is audible, but it's breaking sometimes, sir. This is only the issue.
It may be some issue in software because I have faced many times that the Microsoft team has this kind of problems.
Maybe, sir, maybe possibly.
But the network is very good here. I'm working from since morning. All the things are working very well. Still, if it is
So
working
one
now,
more thing I want to confirm whether you are using some mic or you are using cell phone or
I'm
what
using
are the device?
separate
So,
mic. What do you?
sir, what I feel is that sometimes your mic may come closer to your mouth or sometime it is going far. So
Okay.
it
Uh,
might be the issue.
I have put it on my desk. Is it okay now? I think it's now frequency of sound will be constant.
Please, sir, carry it on, sir.
Okay. So today we will discuss about some practical aspects of the RP or rapid prototyping, or you can say additive manufacturing. As you have learned that additive manufacturing is the layer by layer deposition of the material to fabricate the final part. In this, you have already learned that no material removal is allowed, and the amount for fabrication of material divided into only extra material or wastage of extra material is done in this type of manufacturing system. In our lab, we have the various kinds of the 3D printers or additive manufacturing printer. We categorize probably these printers in the form of material used. Please note, material used, we categorize the printers available in our lab in the form of three categories. First one is the on the material basis. First one is the solid material. Second one is the liquid material, and third one is the powder material. In case of solid material, we generally use the extrusion-based 3D printers. Extrusion-based 3D printer in which we have the FDM or BioForce or bioprinters. In the FDM is the fused deposition modeling. In fused deposition modeling, we have the solid material in which the material deposition is occurred by the help of extrusion of solid material by heating into a nozzle. In second type, we have the liquid material, in which liquid material is get solidified after the polymerization. We use the laser light to polymerize the liquid monomer into the solid form and final part is got fabricated. In third one, we have the powder system. Powder system in which we use the polymer powder of very small size, you can say micro size, and powder particles are sintered together by the help of laser beam and final part is get printed. So according to this material category, we have the printer as FDM, fused deposition molding. On the liquid basis, we have the printer SLA, stereolithography apparatus. And third kind of system in which we are using the powder material is known as the SLS, selective laser sintering. So for all the printers, we need to generate a G code of a file, of a desired part, which can be printed very easily in any kind of printer. So for a particular kind of printers, we have a separate algorithm, or you can say we have separate software for slicing the part into the G code. You have already learned that for any kind of 3D printing, we use the STL file, which is further sliced and G code is generated. That G code is further imported to the printer for print. So according to the different machines, we have different software. First, I am discussing about FDM. Now I am discussing about the software of FDM. Is it visible to all? Hello.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir.
So in please keep in mind that in any kind of 3D printing system, we have to make a STL file which can be generated by the help of sorry, one thing I want to know that how much time I have?
It's half an hour, sir.
Half an hour.
Approx. Half
Okay,
an hour approx.
okay. So in any kind of big printer we have to uh, make a STL file which is further sliced. So STL file can be generated by any medium. You can use any CAD software. You can use any other software from the STL file can easily generate. And for after getting the STL file, you can see here open in this software. You can right side you can see STL file. I am opening this file STL. The name of this software which is being used for the FDM purpose is KIS Slicer. This is the specific software for FDM based system which we have in our lab. This is a part, and this figure is showing the bed of the printer. Okay, this is showing the bed size, which is the 230 mm, 230 mm, and 230 mm. This is the part which has been placed in the form of STL file on that bed. After that, we will apply some desired condition which we require in our part. You can see in on the screen that we have the number of tabs: style, spot, material, G code, printer, and other. Basically, we will first select on the style tab. In style tab, we will choose the profiles, which profile we want to work. I am selecting the fine profile. In this, you will see layer thickness, extrusion width, and skin thickness is given over here. For this kind of printer, in which is available in our lab, extrusion width, skin thickness is constant by the company for that particular printer, but we can vary these parameters. But here is the layer thickness. Layer thickness is the main parameter which will decide the complexity, or you can say compactness of the part after printing. It can be varied uh, to different dimensions depend upon the nozzle diameter. Generally, 80 to 75% of layer thickness is maintained with respect to the nozzle diameter. For example, if we are having the 0.4 mm nozzle diameter, then we have to select the 80% or 70% of that nozzle diameter. And we in this system of our FDM, we have the nozzle diameter 0.3 mm. That's why we have selected the layer thickness 0.2. After that, infill is selected. Here is the 100%. This is also dependent upon your requirement. Infill is the filling of this part, which is the solid. You will see this is a solid part. Infill is the interstitial material which will get filled in this area. So this depends upon your requirement. We can change it from 25 to 100. Oh, sorry, 0 to 100, 0 to 100%. After that, support material. Support material, which is support material for 3D printing. If we want to make any overhang part or cavity, you can see here this portion is the overhanging portion. So for fabrication this part, we need to supply support material over here. So Here we will select the amount of support for fabrication of this overhanging part. This depends upon your requirement that you want rough, medium, dense or fine. You will see the support intensity will changing here. This is rough. When we move slider here, medium, dense and fine. After that, these parameters are selected. Material, these are already fixed in FDM. ABS for the first extruder and HAPS for the second extruder. This is two extruder FDM printer in which extruder one have the main material ABS acrylonitrile butadiene styrene and extruder two having the support material which is HAPS high intensity polystyrene. Remaining parameters which you are seeing on the screen are fixed by the company for the particular printer. After that, printer parameters are selected. You can see that here is the batch size given. So this will give the amount of, or you can say
Sir, your
volume
voice
of
is
the
missing,
part.
sir. Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. Now it's audible. Now audible.
Oh, this is the batch size. This batch size decides the amount of the volume which we can fabricate on that printer, or you can say size of the part. After deciding all these parameters, we will go to the slice. I'm pressing the slice button. You will see the slicing will be done, and now slicing is done. Now I will save the part which will be saved in the form of G code. You can see here. This is got sliced. This has got sliced. Now if you want to see that how will our part will be printed, here is a module given to check how the layer by layer movement will occur into the printer. So you can see I will move the slide bar from here. You will see how the printer will work layer by layer. First, this is the first layer, and this is second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and multiple layers. How much we have, all will get printed by the printer in this. Okay, is it okay for all?
Yes, sir.
This is the software which do the slicing for the FDM base, fused deposition molding base printer. Second one, this is also a FDM based printer which is being used for the upgraded FDM base. In the previous one we have base model, but this software is being used for the advanced version of FDM. Basic principle is same. Here also we do the settings similar like the previous one. Right extruder settings, left extruder setting. We have to give the speed, layer thickness, parameter diameter which we are using for that printing. Here is also extrusion speed. Generally, for FDM based printer, we use the printing speed approximately 60 to 100 per second. Please keep in mind all these things. For FDM based system, we cannot increase the speed above the 100. Also, we have a system for providing the support. According to that, we have to set here the parameters. And after that, uh, for example, this is our part. After doing all these things, we will generate the G code or any other code which can be easily read by the printer. You can see here .x3g format will be generated. This is the advanced version of the G code which is widely being used for the latest FDM based system. So this part .x3g format part will be saved and imported to the printer in which we have to print our part. After all these two FDM based systems, now we will discuss about the powder based system, that is SLS, selective laser sintered system. In this also we have the basic requirement for the printing, that is layer height and laser power ratio. This all depend upon the laser power ratio is directly depend upon the printer. However, layer height is depend upon our requirement. The minimum layer height here which we can provide is 0.125. One thing I want to say that the layer height defines the accuracy of the printing. In FDM based system, we can generate minimum layer thickness up to 0.1 mm or more than 0.1. But in this SLS based system, we can go below this. We can have 0.075, 0.1, 0.125, and 2. So how much we can go down in layer height, the path accuracy, path perfectness will get increased. After doing these settings, we will select the material which we want to print or by which part will be fabricated. After doing the second tab, here we will select the model by this option. For example, this I have selected this part. In SLS based system, one thing I want to say that as in the previous one, you have seen the part is directly lying on the bed. But in selective laser system or powder based system, part is not directly lying on the bed. We have to make you can say we have to maintain at it maintain it at a distance from the bed, because at the lower side we have to provide some powder to make a support for the first layer. Otherwise, the first layer will not get be printed, because for initiation of the printing, powder material should be present there. So we have kept we have to keep our part above the bed in this powder based system. After doing all these settings, we have set the layer height and all the machining parameters here, model setting. We will do the slice here. After slicing, in this system, S code will be generated, which is similar to the G code earlier we have studied. Now, after slicing, the software will give the parameters in which we can print our part. You will see. One thing I want to say here, sorry, one say here that power needed total is 3.03 liter. You will be surprised that the quantity of powder is in liter, but this is true. In this system, the powder is measured in the form of the liter, and the unit measurement of this powder or scale is already given with the equipment, with the printer already provided by the company. Total powder needed is 3.03, but thereafter we need add some extra fresh powder. You this the fresh powder is required because uh, some amount of used powder can be applied for the next coating, but little amount of fresh powder is also required for the parts should be printed. Okay, sir. This is our powder based system, SLS, electrical based engine. So all these software provide a G code or S code files for the printing material printing machine or 3D printers, so that our parts should get printed easily. Hello,
Yes, sir.
sir. Now I'm going to join with my phone,
All
and
right, sir.
I'm disconnecting from here.
Participants, please wait for a while. He will be demonstrating us the lab, so he will be joining with the phone with his cam, so that we will be able to look into the laboratories.
Hello.
Yes, sir, your voice is audible, sir.
Sir, I'm not able to join with my mobile. Can you help me?
Sir, if there is a laptop with a mobile, I have no idea whether it will be supporting or not.
Sir, I have to show you. I call you.
Let me check with the technical team. I am just reverting to you.
Okay.
Sir, do you have Microsoft Team application on your mobile phone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am
So,
having.
so you have logged in with your credentials or our credentials?
Sir, yours credentials I have joined.
So you
So I
have
have.
logged out from all the accounts.
Okay.
Did you logged out from all your different accounts?
No, sir.
You have to logged out from different accounts, sir. Then you have to use these user ID and passwords from our side.
Okay, let me try.
Sure, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Sir, I'm getting your link in calendar, in which I can join only as a attendee.
Uh, with the same ID, sir.
Yes, sir, with your ID.
Okay.
Actually, I have to show some printers in which are available in my
Yeah,
lab.
yeah, I am aware of it. I'm just checking out with the rights. What are the different rights has been set up onto the ID? Wait for a minute, sir. I am just checking out with the senior person.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have checked with my senior person in technical team.
Okay.
He was explaining that if you are having a laptop with the application, then in that case you can able to do, or if you are having a desktop with you and if you will be using some webcam, like which is wireless,
No, sir.
then you can
No,
do.
sir.
But with the help of mobile phone, it is very difficult. It is not possible with team.
I am having only desktop and mobile. Okay, one software more I have to show you, in which we are using the biomedical data to print in our printers. So let's go there.
All right, sir. All right. Perfect. Sir, can we do one thing? Hello. Yes, sir. Your voice is audible. Screen
Hello.
get not shared.
Sir, that's desktop. Is it okay to go there or you have to wind up?
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir.
Sir, I'm saying that the software which I want to explain you is on another desktop. Can I
Okay,
go
okay.
there or you have to wind up all your?
Okay, sir. In that case, we can wind up from here, and we had a nice informative interaction in the practical session as well. And thanks to you, thanks to Pandey sir. So we will in the future we will see further more exploration. There is some limitation with the application which we can understand, and due to that we have missed this opportunity to see your labs and your work, physical work which you performed in the lab. But we are very glad for your informative session, and also very thankful for Pandey sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, dear participants, with the closing note, today we are going to close the sessions for today, and tomorrow in the morning we will be starting at 10 a.m. with a new speaker. So you are having schedule with you, so you can find it there, and you will get shortly the feedback link for today and also the joining link for tomorrow. Those who will be having some issue for joining with the link, then they will try another method of joining, like they, instead of clicking over the link, they can copy the link and then paste into your browser. That will be the alternative way to join if it is navigating or redirecting to you to another day. This is the best way to do. Thank you so much.